The movie project. Heads up, what you're listening to right now is not my real voice. This is narration by an AI. Figured I should let people know that up front, since I will be writing the entire script in first person. By the way, due to this AI voice business, some pronunciations of proper names will be wrong. I'll always write the names out, so we're gonna be fine. Probably. So with that out of the way, let's begin. What's in here? Hello, my name is Kovo, and the AI probably didn't pronounce it right, but it's okay. I'm not offended. Anyway, in this series of videos titled The Movie Project where I make an animated movie. It's still in its infancy state at this point. I really wanted to show people something better. But regardless, I've learned things from other people who are kind enough to show their work in progress. What do I have to lose? So who am I? I consider myself a programmer. I'm not a great programmer, but I have a decade of on and off programming experience. So about 3 to 4 years of serious actual programming. The rest is messing around with editor configs or some other crap. Why should you watch this series? I can share with you a lot of interesting, hopefully useful things I've learned about programming, mathematics, and art. The programming aspect should be applicable generally. The math and the art, you just have to watch and see if you like it. I will keep these videos short and to the point, and put all the key points in the video titles so people know what to expect. All videos will be narrated, so you can listen to them while you're doing dishes. But of course, you'll still need to watch the video for the visuals. Modeling tool. So, a movie gotta have good-looking characters, and for that we need a modeling tool. The image you've been staring at was created using my own modeling tool. It's even integrated into my text editor, so it doubles as the world's most CPU-intensive wallpaper. I originally started the project by spending 20 days modifying a text editor called 4Coder, made by a fellow named Allen Webster, which I had learned about from a programming series. Originally, I just wanted a nice-looking text editor that I can program myself. I didn't want to use Emacs anymore, oh my god. However, starting from a text editor turned out to be an integral part to the project thus far. The way the modeler works, for the most part, is that it draws a bunch of lines on the screen. I'm gonna get into the details later, but that's roughly most of it. Given that, the problem of a modeler is, how do you specify what lines to draw on? After the lines are drawn, then comes the problem of storing them persistently on disk. You gotta be able to edit them conveniently too. Gotta have undo, redo, all that jazz. My solution to these problems is an original, probably not new, invention called the FUI system, which stands for 4Coder UI. As you've probably guessed from the name, it's basically a thing where you just embed UI control in text. It works and I'm liking it so far. It's surprisingly simple and versatile. It mainly involves having a bunch of sliders embedded in code. Let's say you want to draw a circle somewhere in space, and you want to change where it is, and how big it is. You can write code to draw the circle. The circle's center position is represented as a vertex slider, its radius, with a dimensional slider. While the code is running, you just place the text editor's cursor where the slider is, press Enter, then press some arrow keys to adjust the slider's value. Let's say you don't want to see this circle anymore. You can just toggle it off with a Boolean slider. Going back to the modeling, believe it or not, the entire model is created by these FUI sliders. All the vertex positions are controlled by vertex sliders, as you've seen. Although doing so is about as fun as hammer and chisel, while blindfolded. Also, sometimes your hammer crashes because you fat-fingered some code, but it'll get better. I can toggle reference images, or turn certain body parts on or off. The most powerful thing is that I can experiment with different alternatives for free, toggling between them, blending them, etc. Let me give you an example. Say you want to make a wild adjustment, where you make the ear bigger and gives it a darker color. Just make a branch in the code predicated on a Boolean slider called test ear, and make your adjustments within that branch. Then toggle the test ear variable on, off to see which one looks better. This is what I call the scientific method in art. You have to test your decisions to make sure that it is better. Not sure if it's only my problem, but when I began learning how to draw, I often started with something, do some changes to improve it, then ended up with something looking way worse than the original, without even realizing it. By the way, I used to draw on my iPad using a certain popular paint program. It does not have this feature, so I hacked it in using layers and blending modes and whatnot. But after a while I just gave up, and embarked on creating my own tool. I'm making my own tools because I'm serious about quality. Quality that can only achieved using tools that allow you to rapidly test out different decisions. Actually, it's still kind of fast to do in Procreate. It's just the final merge step requires you to pinch with your fingers, which sucks. Such is often the case for software products. It's almost the perfect thing, but also completely misses the mark. So what are the pros and cons of this text-based UI? Well, first of all, I love the idea of staying in my text editor. No context switching needed. I can navigate everywhere with the editor's search functionality. All of the controls are familiar. No need to muck around with UIs and menus. I'm not saying menus are bad. In fact, I do have them. It's just that there can only be so many of them. When you have hundreds of buttons and sliders, it gets tough. How do you keep track of where they are? How do you name them? Can you even name them all? How do you search for them? Etc., etc. Also, all the data are stored in text, which just eases my mind. You can always read and understand the data if you always format them descriptively. You can edit and store them in version control. Also, oh shoot, did I forget to tell you about undo, redo? Hang on, wait me a bit. Say, you messed up the nose here. Now I'm gonna undo, ready? Oh yeah, you just press undo in your text editor. Recompile, done. It's not the most interactive undoing experience, but at least it's reliable. Not all things are well and good, however. A major disadvantage is that every time you want to make a change, say, to add a new slider, you gotta recompile the code. Which is slow, but most of the time it's still a heck of a lot faster than whatever wiring diagram scheme people have to cook up in other programs. I need to stress this point. Please don't be mistaken. This is not all there is. Not all things can done with the FUI system. For example, the cameras have their own dedicated control and serialization scheme. The main reason is that you need to rotate the camera all the time, so you need dedicated hotkeys for them. Conclusion. So, in summary, we've gone through the movie project, what it is, and a few technical tidbits. If you're wondering how all these things work, don't worry. I'll talk more about the implementation details in subsequent videos. Until next time. After credits rambling. Boy, this AI voice technology does save a lot of work. Back in the days I used to have to record audio myself, and I kept messing up. And then I had to record again, and then I messed up again. At one point, I resorted to narrating in slow-mo and sped it up in editing, because my language skills are so atrociously bad. Thankfully, that never has to happen again. Fun fact, when I tried to create a girl's voice in 11 Labs, it refuses because of child data protection policy. Chill out, bro. I said girl, not girl under 18. Anyway, I'm not using 11 Labs. Also, their voices sound more robotic than this one. Alright, that's it for real. See ya.